The portrayal of Batman across the animated series is arguably one of, if not the most iconic renditions of The Dark Knight to date. It's easily my definitive incarnation of the Batman, so when it comes to the animated series games, I have some pretty strong opinions on them. It's one thing to research an era of gaming, it's another to live it, which is why I totally get it when someone has a radically different opinion on a series they may or may not have grown up with. Hell, I love to go off the rails with my reviews, so I'm not exactly coming from a place of authority here. There's plenty of echo chambers out there if you're looking to quote the internet. I'm simply hyped to share my experience here, but I will say, there's this deeper layer of narration that can only be told when engulfed in the moment, and many of us Batman fans share that same feeling with this series. So I wanted to find a way to give back to my favorite Batman series, the best way I know how. That's reviewing the entire series of console games centered around the show. So, with 4 very unique entries reviewed thus far, it simply leaves us with one final entry to cap off this marathon, that being the Game Boy release. If you know a bit about me, then you know I hold this specific handheld in the highest regards, mainly for its impressive ingenuity, with many of its exclusives having this extra layer of care placed into them. This big brick right here gave us over a decade of the most highly regarded titles today, sometimes overlooked or disregarded as ports from afar, yet under that plastic housing hides a brand new journey that could even rival its home console cousins. I'm not comparing horsepower here, just simply what we were delivered by the confines of its hardware space. And speaking of hardware, this baby only got better with time. Although we received a slew of upgraded models, my favorite out of the bunch has to be the Pocket. The later color models were great and all, but that crisp monochrome display just did it for me. This aesthetic is perfect for the occasion today, as if we're watching a great film noir unfold here with the action just popping right off the film reel. So, while building a case against the latest influx of organized crime across Gotham, it'd probably be a good time to mention that this is essentially a prequel in relation to character portrayals across the other 4 mainline releases. And interesting enough, this is the only release with the animated series moniker attached to it. Could the name etched across this tiny cartridge live up to the hype? Well, it's time to pop it in and see for ourselves, because we can't keep the commissioner waiting much longer, as we all know the show must go on. Our story opens up just in time to celebrate the holidays. However, Santa won't be coming to town this Christmas. Unfortunately, there's a new Kris Kringle in the neighborhood whom is currently busy at work inside his workshop building the latest toys of Toyland with a little extra spark to them. The Joker has recently broke free of Arkham Asylum and has whipped up an assortment of explosives he intends to release upon the good citizens of Gotham. A stunt wicked enough to bring the Bat out of hiding, whom is currently racing across the back alleys of Gotham, fresh on the scent of his age-old rival. These streets are covered in henchmen, eager to hand-deliver old Batsy his very own care package, now prepared with the perfect amount of gunpowder to get this party popping off. Unfortunately, the Joker won't get the reaction he was expecting, as our hero looks to seize this madman's operations with a personal cease and desist hand-delivered through his 2 fists. As you navigate across this madman's workshop, it never felt sweeter to do so, especially on a handheld. This is the sleeper Game Boy title I didn't see coming, a pint-sized package right down to your tool set. A simple yet efficient offering that makes the best use out of the Game Boy's portable power. Your grappling hook is your go-to this time around, allowing you to reach higher grounds with ease, sniffing out those hidden platforms as you ambush the opposition. It's not quite as effective as Rad Spencer's bionic arm per se, but for a handheld, this grappling hook is well suited to get the job done. As you gain ground on the Joker, you're kick ass in a multitude of ways, channeling your inner Sunsoft Bat by wall jumping in style. They're quite simple to execute with some simple calculations, diving into these sticky situations with the right speed and trajectory. Is there a better combination out there than this pairing with a grappling hook? I think not, and I had a hunch Konami knew this too, because the only item to complement this further here are the batarangs. Not to mention, they're hella limited in quantities, coming in containers of 5 a pop, and lightly scattered across each stage. They're great to have in a pinch, especially when low on health, yet they're few and far between, so I wouldn't exactly go out of your way to search them out. This is Konami on the Game Boy, so this feels every bit as old school in controls as it does in challenge, limiting your health and recovery items to a few lone heart containers scattered about. Oh, and by the way, when you eventually take that tumble, you only get 2 more chances to figure it out. That's right, 2 continues in total, and it's a wrap. So don't take your foot off the gas here. You need to stay locked in at all times, keeping on high alert as you explore each nook and cranny of these stages, getting some quality time in with your grappling hook as you explore the many sights Gotham has to offer. Once you chase down the Joker, he'll be thrilled to take you on a tour of his workshop. There's plenty of mischief taking place behind the scenes here, as the Joker moves swiftly through an assortment of rotating doors throughout the workshop, quickly showering you with gifts. You need to watch the floors carefully, counting down the seconds till these cute and cuddly Care Bears ignite. The moment he re-ups his pyro, mount your hook into the floors above, rising to the occasion with a show of appreciation here, cracking this fool upside his head. Amuse his antics here long enough, and you're soon humble the old jokester, putting his little toy shop here out of business once and for all. Well, it appears the Joker's latest hijinks caused enough commotion to rile up his colleagues back at Arkham. As soon as the news drops, so does the temperature, bringing forth a returning Mr. Freeze, whom now looks to restake his claim to the city. He isn't alone here either, now accompanied by the Scarecrow, a 2-man power trip looking to divide and conquer the city of Gotham. It soon becomes apparent there's no way Batman can do this on his own here, as this influx of criminal minds only appears to be multiplying in numbers. So rest assured, help is on the way, as Robin now makes his handheld debut, relieving Batman of his duties here, so he can now turn his attention to Mr. Freeze. Playing as Robin is a real treat, which I didn't expect to see on the Game Boy. He plays similar to Batman, only he doesn't require a grappling hook to pull off those high-flying acrobatics. The Boy Wonder simply clings to ceilings to accommodate for this. To add to the fun, he can also acquire ammo for his trusty slingshot. Yeah, I'm not sure when he made the trip to Springfield, but let's just say this dude ain't no Bartman here. However, this will still do. As Robin, it's a breeze to navigate past the many frightful sights you will encounter while tripping balls off the latest strand of the Scarecrow's nerve gas. A stage primarily dedicated to our Boy Wonder, which I'll just say could easily pass as its own episode of the animated series. The Game Boy visuals are truly impressive here, and again, playing this with a crisp black and white monochrome display gives this entry a film noir feel about it, which really sets it apart from the rest of the series. You eventually cross paths with the Scarecrow up ahead, whom will continue to pump the room full of hallucinogens. As soon as he does, he will up the stakes here with a series of pumpkin bombs, which would even amuse the likes of the Green Goblin himself. A small confined chamber which needs to be utilized to the fullest to keep the Scarecrow off your back, catching him off guard at just the right moment to throw him off his game. A large portion of these fights acquire mastery of your surroundings, but they're laid out methodically. All you need to do is read the room, and the moment you do, you're sealed the deal, allowing Batsy enough time to gain some much needed ground on Mr. Freeze, whom carved out of frozen wonderland across these suburbs. He's built his own ice palace uptown, fortified by his own personal infantry, now strapped with their very own ice cannons. Each stage throughout this adventure ramps up the difficulty through cleverly designed obstacles and fun challenges to keep the gameplay fresh. Whether it be mastering the floating platforms across this Arctic prison, or overcoming the odds stacked inside this ice palace, there's always something which requires you to use your old noggin here. The encounter with Mr. Freeze might be the best example of this, which requires you to retrace your every step in order to mentally map out an attack route across this palace. You gotta read between the lines if you wish to take him down, circling through his chamber while avoiding his security systems, firing at the most inconvenient time. Just know, you got a slim margin of error here, but I wouldn't expect any less coming from Konami. While our duo was busy fending off this deadly alliance, another seems to be brewing behind the scenes. The victim of these circumstances is Harvey Dent out of all people, whom hasn't yet donned the moniker of Two-Face. It appears the culprit is none other than the Green Goddess herself, whom plans to use Harvey as a pawn in a power play to capture Batman, whom has received an invitation to a social gathering being held at Harvey's high-rise in downtown Gotham out of all places. However, before Batman can get the full scoop here, he's confronted by Catwoman, looking to entertain these plans a bit further. An opportunity to confront her old boy toy. She's got some unfinished business to handle with our hero, leading him through a series of trials on a rendezvous across the many connected suites of this high-rise, which appears to have seen better days. The building has been set ablaze, and the higher you climb, so do the flames, rising with the smokestacks that trap the poor bat as the cat drops in to play. The two of you will begin to work things out the higher you climb, culminating atop the rooftops as tensions rise across this feline's redemption arc. A scuffle that will require good reflexes and even better communication skills as these two look to call a truce, allowing Batman to continue his search for the missing Harvey Dent. As you proceed forward, the rich forest trails created by Ivy becomes more and more prominent as Mother Nature soon returns home to take back the city, wrapping her roots into the granite stone structures now surrounding you. A tropical paradise for the bat to frolic through, only the plant life surrounding us here aren't bearing any fruit this year, covered in an invasive new strand of weed that strangles anything it clings onto. The climb across this garden of evil can be a fatal one. You will be starving for a health pickup due to the degree of traps hidden throughout these fields, so you'll need to pace yourself to clear the upcoming platform segments, requiring you to hold steady long enough to make your ascent. As you hack your way across this vineland, you'll eventually come across poor Harvey, wrapped up and ready to be served to Ivy's latest creation, planted inside the heart of this structure, which now has its roots buried through every inch of this chamber, creating a network of vines that will skewer you on impact. So trim this bouquet of bullshit, soaring past the weeds while keeping an eye on Ivy, who tries to pick you off as you draw near. With enough patience and proper placement of your grappling hook, you will overcome her latest pet project, freeing Harvey from his dinner date with Destiny. While rescuing Harvey from the clutches of Ivy, another security breach appears to have occurred over at Arkham Asylum as the skies of Gotham begin to hail down a series of explosive parasols. A puzzling series of events riddled with more questions than answers. This type of orchestrated attack could only be done by one man, with the financial backing of another. The Riddler will make his presence felt here with an open invitation to participate in his latest batch of batshit crazy games. A labyrinth of secrets locked behind a series of keys that are guarded by an assortment of tech gadgets tucked away inside this cryptic keep. A cyberspace filled with tiny shapeshifters whom watch your every move. Keep in mind, each room has multiple exits that will keep you running in circles till it drives you mad. If you're not careful, you can easily become depleted of your reserves, so sniff out the foul scent of the Riddler as quickly as possible. When you do, he will entertain you further here through a few more of his optic illusions that take the form of shadow clones. Once they float about long enough, they store up enough energy, materializing into tiny energy orbs that will sync up to fry poor Batsy. Stick to what has worked in past situations here, maneuvering on past these projectiles through a steady rhythm, finding that precise moment to strike here. Again, it's all about mastering that grappling hook, sending the Riddler packing back to the big house with the rest of the inmates. Once the Penguin realizes this heist is a bust, he will look to flee the scene in his crafty new airship. Our duo must split up once more. It's Robin's time to shine now, hot on his heels to prevent the Penguin from boarding this ship. If you can beat out the timer, you delay any and all flights out of Gotham for the foreseeable future, now leaving it up to Batman to pursue him further. It's gonna be a wild goose chase to lock him down. The inner decks of this airship is home to those deadly birds of prey, which are relentless to all hell. You need to stay ahead of each wave as quickly as possible, and do not, I repeat, do not look back for a split second to entertain them. The longer it takes you to navigate through the inner decks, the larger the flock, so keep it moving. Deep inside the bowels of this ship, you'll locate the Penguin, who won't hesitate to use a few more of those loaded parasols for this occasion. He's in a state of panic here, so it's essentially a game of tag, so just stick and move till you catch him in your crosshairs. When the opportunity presents, just put him away. Time to pack it up here, boys, all in a day's work. With the Penguin brought to justice once more, the Winter Night ushers in a storm, only our hero finds himself piloting past more than icy hail across these skies. Soon enough, the Batwing takes a hit from an unidentified strike, sending Batsy crashing down into the fields below. As he comes to his senses, he manages to will his way across the freshly fallen snowfields until he comes face to face with a ghost of his past, the culprit of this strike and one whom looks to end things here tonight. With the Bat wounded, the Joker resurfaces, looking to play his trump card as the two icons prepare to go for broke one last time, with the Joker revealing his latest attraction, a mechanized circus act modeled after the late great Andros. A floating head and hands whom deals you your fate with house rules, shuffling through an assortment of card tricks at the dealer's discretion. Once he's shown his hand, you have a split second to deal some much needed damage to the main brain as he crashes below, quickly reshuffling his deck as he powers back online. Continue to entertain the Joker's games, sliding in and out of range with each hand dealt, only to wail away at the old Chrome Dome once he takes the bait, or should I say, once he rears his ugly head. In time, this game of cat and mouse will come to an end, much like his many schemes of old. With the Joker detained, our two heroes reunite as our story closes out. These two are ready to call it a night, reminiscing on their latest endeavors as we now head back to the Batcave for a celebration with Alfred, closing out our fifth and final animated feature in triumphant fashion. Batman the Animated Series on the Game Boy is surprisingly an amazing little title. The Game Boy's limited hardware specs forced Konami to go back to the well once more and do what they did best time and time before, placing a greater emphasis on the fundamentals of platforming, which by doing so, gave us a solid handheld experience, providing a sense of familiarity, yet unique to the Game Boy all the same. A clever array of fine-crafted platform segments, which captures the feeling of Gotham City through a variety of highly decorated sequences. A beautifully detailed package with fantastic set pieces that looks incredible on the Game Boy hardware, somehow managing to take its black and white color palette and make it a defining aesthetic choice that gives this entry an extra layer of depth. The inclusion of Robin here was a standout moment for me. I highly applaud Konami for differentiating him well enough from Batman through a unique skill set, but also his contribution to the many story arcs woven throughout. It's the perfect game for the perfect handheld, rewarding us with those sweet black and white cutscenes that unfolded across those gorgeous monochrome displays fans of the Pocket grew up on. I love the villainous team-ups across each act, creating a grand adventure that somewhat pays homage to the many early Batman movie sequels, creating new story plots while leaving the Joker to go it alone as your one true equal. I wouldn't have it any other way. This was exceptional from the start, and the only entry in the mainline animated titles to give us a true animated opener. It's a true sleeper title if I do say so myself, with vivid visuals and exceptional pacing that managed to do so much with so little. At the end of the day, it always comes down to that fun factor for me, which is what wins me over every time. With that said, I find it only fitting to end this marathon on a high note. Oh, and don't worry, I'll find my way back to the Batman series in due time. We got plenty of unfinished business on our hands. I have a few good reasons I want to pair the remainder of them together. It all comes down to story. I want to thank everyone that has made this journey on YouTube a special one so far. I rarely do channel updates on this platform because I want to spend that downtime getting my review out, so I like to include them at the end sometimes. I'll be honest with you all, it's very hard to do long form content, especially on a platform that doesn't reward you for it. I don't ask for handouts. The fact you've all shared your own stories with me is rewarding on its own. So I have my own reasons to continue to make these videos, which I continue to do through the confines of a vastly hostile climate. A climate that is full of uncertainty, one with comments that may build you up and make you feel on top of the world, while others may also tear you down and try to devalue your hard work. I, for the most part, roll with the punches. I try my best to send a positive message on this platform, a message which is to continue to make organic homegrown content even when the trends state otherwise, which again is why I don't sit in front of a camera the entire time and talk that shit. I hope this platform once again strives for greatness, especially for those that enjoy watching others create lasting memories. I try to add my quirky mannerisms to my scripts, so that's me. I'm just a goofy guy, and my style isn't for everyone, so I don't expect every joke to land with you. Why would I? We all have walked very different paths in life, so I can't control what you may or may not find humorous, right? Whether that translates to 1 or 100 individuals whom enjoy this video, I do it for the one person I positively impact. Oh, and in response to the haters that just don't get me, well, I embrace you too. What's that old saying? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. It's all a matter of perception, and in this reality, there's only one thing that's constant. That's me, the Rockin' Cat. And with that said, I bid you all a fantastic night. Till next time, gang, same rockin' time, same rockin' channel.